I've acquired some sandwiches. Bacon, egg, whole grain. And I have a question for you. What was the point of the last scene? Give it a moment. Let us sink in. I'll take a drink first. So, the last scene introduced Coach McHale and Jeremy. Why didn't Jeremy participate in the fight? Why didn't Jeremy and Coach McHale perhaps give Nasser a demonstration? Why didn't Jeremy, in order to show that he's assistant, provide a training exercise for Nasser? Like, hey, Nasser, put on these gloves and punch these dummies a little bit, Have some fun. If the point is to introduce the characters to Nasser specifically, then that's what you can do. You can show us that Nasser knows about some of their character traits. None of that happens. Instead, it's just some stuff happens, and I guess the scene is over now. There's no point, there's no purpose, there's nothing to enjoy, because there's nothing to talk about. What happens is a thing happened. It is not even a story that Anon will remember when he's 30 years old and talks. Well, he's already 30 years old, technically. That he will talk. He literally is 30 years old at this point, mentally. It's not a thing you'll remember and talk about, because there's nothing to talk about. At most, he'll mention the thing at the end, like, haha, oh, I remember that time that Nasser thought that. Yeah, that's the most you'll get out of this. The rest of it is completely superfluous. He already beat up Jeremy once. Like, what's the point? It would make... There's so many better ways to do the scene and actually get something out of it. Instead, it's just saying, look at how great Anon is. Why? We already know that he's a big old Shadasaurus. let me get a bite out of this cold sandwich I put in the... probably shouldn't have. Is good sandwich. Yum. Best part. I got these on discount because they're going on a date today, so they sell them at 35% off. It's great. Man, that's great. All right, I tested my acoustic guitars. I would like to point out that Anon is apparently good at physical activity and a guitar. I'm keeping my eyes open for him getting a little too good at things. I mean, to be fair, he has been around and he learned most of his guitar skills over his youth. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Not to mention he already has a head start from Fang. I tested my acoustic guitar while sitting on the living room couch, twanging a few strings to test the tune before adjusting the tuning pegs on the headstock. Olivia sat close by, drawing as I turned to her. So, should I tell Dad? Don't worry, I'll tell him, Olivia answered, just as Mom and Dad arrived from upstairs, passing the dining room. Are you two ready for this? Are you two ready for this Saturday sport? My dad asked with a smile, my mother sitting off to the side of one of the chairs by the dining table. Sitting off the side of... This is such a weird way. Say sitting on the edge, otherwise you're... I peer at Olivia, giving an encouraging nod. I don't think if you peer at someone you can give an encouraging nod. You're looking a little too closely. As she looked to Dad, speaking up. Actually, Uncle Ed, I was wondering... The reason she calls Randy uncle is because she doesn't feel like she belongs, like she's a burden on them. I don't know if that applies here. She's been here for like 10 years. At some point, especially considering she seems to have no major personal issues, why can't she just go along? Also, she calls him Ed, which is... It's such a weird middle ground. I guess she compromised for herself. She suddenly found the tip of the couch more interesting before steeling herself, looking directly into Edward's glasses. She doesn't need them. If it's okay to have another dino come along when we go. That's fine, Dad answered. We can make more room in the car if Warden is, Nah, Warden, he's too busy, Olivia admitted. Someone else. They seemed to get the undivided attention of both of my parents, now focused on the baryonyx. His name is Nasser. He's visiting our school for the Meteor Bowl. She oddly twirled a strand of her short green hair with a sharp digit. If it's short hair, she wouldn't do it. I assure you, no, I do it. I just haven't, because they always turn into little knots, and then I pull on my hair, and it's like, ow! And since I figured he's really far away from his family, he doesn't really have much to do on the weekends. So you want to invite him over? Olivia nodded, and a knowing smile grew on Joanne's snout. Is this Nasser's... Jesus fucking Christ, Mom! She just said that he's alone and away from his family, and you're like, oh, you want to fuck him? Fuck off, Mom! Jesus! This would be the part where Olivia would stutter and outright deny the fact, Stop getting referential. You're already really pushing it with some of these things. Maybe let it simmer down a little bit after the sandwich joke. I'm just saying you're doing it one too many times at this rate. But Olivia, and I wasn't even trying to meme, was not really like the other girls, except for fuck off. In that she was not simply nodding, bashfully being like, yeah, kinda. She did stutter. So that part's still there. Mom's snout dropped open as a glint of light grew on my dad's glasses, obscuring his eyes. A twitch at the side of his head. Like, cute, I guess. But that's not gonna help me finish my sandwich. Also, again, I was under the impression that when the dad came over to Anon, that the mom went over to Olivia, since, you know, both of them were being fucking weird. I just feel that was a double team moment. But isn't Olivia, like, young? I don't even fucking know. The story does not call attention to the ages or anything. Then both briefly looked at each other, coming, that's fine, come along, fine, okay, cool, tell them the good news. That went pretty well. I was about to continue practicing, only to be suddenly aware of my dad's claw on my shoulder. Anon? Yeah? I peer back. I was going to see that bright glint of his glasses. Like, that doesn't physically happen. Why is it still there anyway? Like, even as a graphical effect, it shouldn't be there unless your dad's about to stab you in the neck. Making it hard to discern what he was thinking. I'm pretty sure your dad can just hide his emotions because he's a fucking adult, Anon. He doesn't need his glasses to do the heavy lifting. You know Nasa too? Oh, so remember that dad went over to Nasa to Anon to be like, hey, are you having the butterflies in your belly? Anon is not beating the allegations. He's just fucking gay. Jesus. Like, I expect the story to just stop going that direction at any moment, but it refuses. It is oblivious to the fact that it is really making it sound like Anon has any degree of interest. If not him, then the people around him have noticed. That, like, it might not even be real, but the implication of the text is that there should be something there, that other people might look into it more. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. If this is the point, then please have someone say it. Have it be real, so I can latch onto something actually happening for once. I don't give a shit if two people hook up romantically if there's no fucking chemistry happening. There's none. There's nothing exciting happening between these characters. It's all matter of fact. It's banal. It's boring. You know Nasa? Do you know Nasa 2, sport? Yeah, pretty well. How? Yeah! How well? Do you know what a condom is, Anon? Yeah. Do you know that you have to wear a special one if you're deciding to go backdoorsies? Oh my god, Dad. Please stop, Dad. I'm just making sure my son is 100% ready for the love of his life. Jesus fucking Christ, Dad, please stop. Oh, my darling's gay, aww. And then Olivia dogpiles in, and that's where Anon just dies instantaneously. He wouldn't survive it, realizing that he accidentally sounded gay. I mean, considering his backstory, I guess. Well enough, I answer truthfully. He's a good student and a total bro, so he's not a bad influence at all. If you Holy shit, Dad. Holy shit. Edward Solons. As expected if he's at Mesozoic Private for the Meteor Bowl. Any weaknesses? I tilt my head at the weird question, as if my dad were writing a file. More like compiling. I feel like writing makes it a bit too physical. And somehow I felt that any obstruction of the truth was not going to end well. I mean, to be fair, he's known you for 13 years. Actually, he wouldn't know when you're lying, because if he did, he would know what your fucking deal is by this point, jackass. Anon is implicitly good with lying because he's been able to hide who he is for this fucking long. Or, again, it might just be because his parents don't know the difference between Anon and, you know, they couldn't tell because there's nothing to tell from that perspective. I guess he's bad with words sometimes. Liable to say, maybe do the wrong thing at the wrong time. That could be an issue. You can ask another question. Yeah, that's what he fucking does. What? What? What are we doing? Why is your dad asking this? Like, what is happening? Like, what is the point, is my question, right? Like, what is the... Oh, God, my headache is returning. A pterodactyl. I don't get what the point of this is. If Dad is trying to learn about Nasser, then fair enough. But why is he being so weird about his choice of words? Especially since you start off with you know Nasser too. How well, like, wouldn't... This is really scientific, but here he's like more nonchalant, casual about it. It's, what are you trying to do here? Approximately 90 teeth. Who cares? Is he showing off that he knows a lot of stuff? This hasn't come up before. His dad is not a fucking character in the way that matters. What are you doing? Like, I understand the idea of, like, characters are an ensemble and they come in and out as they're needed for the story, but I don't think any one of these people is developed enough to the way that fucking matters. His dad was in the special operations group or whatever. Who fucking cares? He doesn't do anything with it. Wait. Anon knows this shit. Anon knows that his dad's a glowy. Shouldn't Anon be... Okay. Anon, quite literally, wears the jacket his dad fucking wore. Or was that the other... I don't even know. His dad was in the military either way. So, I don't know, man. Hold on, I'm gonna look this shit up. Give me a minute. Yeah, his dad was in the SOG. In the Special Operations Group. So, let me just ask this, Anon. Are you fucking stupid? Is everyone just an idiot? Like, Anon, you already know this about your dad. You've known your dad this whole time. Isn't this something you're just expecting from him at this point? I don't get it. It's like, the characterization happens, but it's like, you've lived with this man for 13 years! Like, I thought Mr. Ripley was terrifying. He's your dad! What are you talking about? If the point is that your dad is acting out of order, why not bring it up and say, like, wow, where did this fucking come from? If you're not saying that, it's implied that this is normal, and you're just a fucking idiot. Does the writer know that Anon has lived with this man for 13 years? Also, why the hell is this dad like Ripley? We don't need two of these fathers. Just saying. Give him some difference. So there's a fucking conflict. Then when fucking this lady you call Olivia goes over to his house, goes, man, your parents are fucking different, aren't they? Some friction, something fucking exciting happens. I don't know. Jesus. Luckily, Mom stepped in, brushing his shoulder with a hiss. Oh, you're terrible, Edward. Not even a minute after Olivia left, and you're already thinking of ways to torment her new boyfriend. He's tormenting Anon, apparently. She probably meant it as an exaggeration, but I somehow didn't feel it. Pause in the air as Edward relinquished his claw. Fuck off! Resting on the couch, and let out a sigh. Her boyfriend. Her boyfriend. He murmured the word as if in disbelief. Glint disappeared from his glass and looked at Joan, wariness in his green eyes. Hey, can you put the spotlight back up, darling? I just can't glint my eyes like this anymore. Why isn't the glint in his eyes? Why not his eyes? He has them! Because of anime. Yeah, but that only works if you're working in a fucking visual medium, you jackass! Goddamn. I got art to share with friends. Alright. Is it still too soon for it, anything like that? If she's like 12, 13, they're in like what grade? They were like 4 years behind. He was in 5th when they were in 1st. He's a sophomore. Yeah, I think it's a little early for her to have a boyfriend, but girls do start puberty a little earlier. So I don't know. To be honest, I haven't really, been around teens for that long. I'm not a teacher, so I don't have a reason to. So I'm sorry to tell you that my knowledge on this regard is a bit limited. It's also dinosaurs who have an estrus season sometimes, so I can't tell you. I take a moment to interject. Well, I take a moment. Stop taking... you can't... take... to find the right words. Both of my parents are looking at me. First of all, they like each other a lot. But I wouldn't call Nasser her boyfriend. Not at least. Does Nasser have it? What? Like, I just don't know. It's like they're growing closer together, but what's the chemistry that's happening? What he's doing is observing her art. That's fair, but what is his active contribution to the relationship? Is he giving anything? Is he just a pretty guy? Because that's fine too. Like, Olivia has this very shallow attraction to someone who likes her art and says nice things, but there's no substance to it. There's no chemistry that actually keeps them going. So at a certain point, like when they reach genius, you're like, fuck it, Nasser, like you were cute, but like, damn, I'm an adult, I'm a professional artist. Like, fuck off, you have nothing to add to my life. I'm an artist, I need inspiration, and you are neither. You're not even good support. You're just a fucking lame ass who can't even help his own goddamn sister. Like, Jesus. Which would be an interesting story. Second, it'll be a good opportunity for you guys to get to know Nasa for yourself at least. But you can trust me when I say it. Nasa's good. My mother slowly turns her head back to Edward. Like, even the fact that I'm reading this out loud changes the medium. Right? You know that? You're smart enough to put in your brain that me reading this out loud, an audiobook, is different from a book. An audiobook will never be a fucking book because it sets pacing, it sets tone, it adds a voice, it changes so much about a book, it stops being a fucking book. I don't care how you feel about audiobooks. They are not a replacement for just sitting down, relaxing, and reading a book. It's just not. Yes, you've obtained the contents. You might be able to divine the themes and such, but the experience has changed. You cannot argue the experience has changed. The book and its contents and what you get out of it, maybe not, but the experience has changed. You can't put House of Leaves in an audiobook either. In some books, the page turning itself, the end of a chapter and the blank page are all part of it. They're all part of formatting things in your mind and creating space. In an audiobook, it just goes next to the next track. But in a book, the chapter has a certain monumentalness to it, a certain gravitas, because it is a physical component of the book. You can't talk about visual elements like this because they don't fucking exist in a way that matters. Sweet droops, everyone. Sweet droops. I'm gonna give this guy the art too, I guess. My mother slowly turns her head back to us. Anon's right there. Giggled with embarrassment. I suppose they're both overthinking. They're not even old enough to know what sex is. Again, if Olivia is younger, and Nasser is even younger. Like, if Anon is Fang's age. Again, Nasser is like 2 years younger, and Olivia is like 1 year younger, I think, on some regard. If you do the fucking math, they, A, should probably not be dating in the first place because of the age discrepancy, and 2, even if, I don't know if kids at age 13 should be doing any of that anyway. It seems like a great way to fuck up. Also, I'm just saying, if your 13-year-old gets pregnant, however the fuck that happened, that's really bad. I don't care what you think or what you feel. When they are 20, their kid is 7. That's weird, okay? Just avoid it. They'll be like just in their 30s when their kid graduates. So weird. Ugh. Oh, that's just, I feel gross thinking about it. But you're the one asking the fucking questions. This wouldn't have happened if they never did the fucking Anon and the dad and having the talk. If Anon and his dad never had the talk, you don't prime anyone for the concept, right? It never occurs to you because you're in the moment, because you're with the characters and they aren't considering it. But you've already established it. Like, does this guy know what... It's so oblivious to writing as a concept and what it means and how it works and the way it does and what the experience of reading is. It's so oblivious. It's hilarious. And I'm so mad. Angry cat, no banana.